What's up guys, Tetris Topper here, and today in this video I have a starter tutorial for Blender. So basically, if you know nothing about Blender, I will teach you. So basically how to get started is you oh yeah, basically you need a successful and good mouse, with the scroll wheel and the middle mouse button. You don't need to have so the scroll thing goes right. Never mind. So basically, the basic controls are pressing the middle mouse button will move the panning, and then when you hold Shift and use the middle mouse button, it will pan around. So and then by right-clicking on things, you will be able to select. So I can right-click on this light, I can right-click on this cube, I can right-click on this camera, and the toggling between selecting nothing is A. You hit. So say I want to highlight everything. So I hit A to deselect everything, and then I hit A to select everything. You see how everything's selected here? And then I just hit A again. But say I only want to select these two. I'd right-click on here, and just right-click on here. Now I have these two to move around. And, okay, once we get further into the tutorial, you can leave any questions you have in the comments. I will be able to answer them. So blah, 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 how do you change the thing that came along? I definitely planned out how this video would go. So have you ever wanted to create your own YouTube banner art? Well, you've come to the right place. So basically, the controls are on your numpad. Make sure your numlock is on, so you can do this. So every time you hit the 0 key on your numpad, it'll bring you into the camera view. So see the camera right here, and it goes into the camera. Every time you hit 1 on your number pad, it'll bring you into the front perspective. Every time you hit 3, oh wait, never mind, that was a bad thing. Every time, no, I did that wrong. What? Okay, hopefully, I ruined this. Don't look at me. Don't look at me, Daddy. Don't look at me. Alright, let's just reload this up. So now when you hit 1, it'll bring you to front view, front perspective. Now, and then when you hit 3, it'll bring you to right perspective. When you hit 4 and 6, it'll toggle left and right. And then 7 is bird's eye view, 9 is the underside view, and 5 toggles orthographic view. And 2 and 8 are 4 and 6. They turn just a couple times. So for this, we'd want to be in front orthographic view. However you say it. So you hit 1 on your number pad, and then you'd hit 5 until you see ortho or these blue and red lines. So then hit delete to delete the cube, obviously. That's the starter cube. Then come down here to hit add, and if you have an older version of Blender, it would be up here and create. And if you can't do that, just hit Shift A. And then it should bring up a thing. Then click text. Then when you try to rotate it so it's looking at you the correct way, you want to rotate it 90 degrees so it's looking at you. But see, it just rotates down. So depending on pressing the Z, X, and Y, it will toggle the movement of the thing. So if we rotate it, right now we're rotating it on the I don't know which axis, but right now we're rotating on the Z-axis, which is up and down, and then we're gonna go on the X-axis. This is the X-axis is what we want, and then the Y-axis. But first, so we're gonna say 90 degrees and then hit X, and then left-click or hit Enter, depending on whichever one. Then see when you know it might be kind of weird because it's at this angle. So go back into front orthographic, then you have to grab your camera, but it might be so hard to position it. All you have to do, hit 1 for ortho, hit 1 for front, 5 for ortho, and then hit Control-Alt-0. And then that will automatically move the camera right into the front view. So now we'll look into the camera's perspective, and this text might be like, it's sort of not in the middle. So you want to go over here to this F saying text and grab this awesome align, and then you hit center. So yeah, so let's just Tetris topper. Oh, looks bad. Alright, now I totally forgot to explain this. You have to hit tab to edit your text. So once you make your text, it should look like this. So you hit tab, and then obviously backspace, and then you can type your YouTube name. And then you hit tab again to exit the mode. Tab is to toggle text edit and regular. Then you want to come over here, and you don't have to do this, it's totally optional. You go to the regular fonts, go into your folder full of fonts, and grab your awesome phase font. Then, my favorite type of thing is this. This might be a good time to save your work. So save it as Tetris topper, and then save. And now we will. So now that's saved. So the only reason I wanted to do that was to open one of another thing I had done. This I had done a really long time ago, and this is gonna be basically what I'm gonna be explaining in this video, but better. So see how it's all glassy and it looks really nice? Basically, this looks super easy to do, but once you get your hands on it, it's pretty hard. So yeah, so now we will open recent Tetris topper. Alright, now we're where we were before. So we should start by making we should start by getting rid of topper, and then moving Tetris over. By hitting the G key, you can move. By hitting the S key, you can scale the size, and you figured out the R key can rotate on the Y, the X, or the Z. So yeah, so let's do this. Let's grab this, and then we will rotate over, and then we'll rotate on the X-axis like this, and then you see it's kind of papery, and it's just like it's not thick enough. So you've got to go over here into extrude, which is the thickness of it. I always do 0.15. So let's rotate it back a little more on the X-axis. This is totally, like, you could do this however you want. This is just my tutorial. So then, once that is done, I always like to add some bevel, which means it basically, if you hit Shift D, it will copy your text, and then when you right click, it'll basically just add the text where it is. So, if you move it over, it's like bad, because it's like you can't really tell that it's like sticking out like on that lemon. You can only see like this, like that's bad. So the bevel really helps it. So I like to go 0.09, and then that will give it that immediate like tiny structure. And then you hit Shift, and let's get a better view. Shift D to copy it, then you right click to just add it straight back to where it was before, and then you get rid of the bevel, and then use these keys to drag it out and down a little, just like this. And then when you look through it, you might not be able to see it because it's the same color, but when I right click on the different texts, you can tell that it's different. So then you'd you'd want to right click on your first text and then right click on your second text and hit Shift D. Then drag it, say, down here, rotate it on the X-axis, and then we will rotate it on the Z-axis, and then rotate it on the Y-axis. And then scale it a little bit, just so it looks beautiful. And then, so adding material. So you could see in that previous lemon project we had, that it had that back part was like glassy. So let me save this and open recent lemon. You could see that the back part of this was like glassy, and like the front part was like very just like lemon leaf color, and then like lemon color, but just dark. So now we're gonna do that, but for Tetris Topper. So if you didn't understand what I just did, I saved the file, I went File, I opened the recent file of the lemon, because this was a previous project I did that I hadn't recorded, and then I showed you this, and then I hit File, Open Recent, Tetris Topper YouTube. So now you have your beautiful thing. So you right click on this back part, make sure it's the back part. Well, first, never mind, just don't listen to anything. So right click on one of them, hit tab and type your second part of your username and your second part of your username, but for your first text. Make sure it's all aligned. And if you don't have, if it's just like, say Jacksepticeye or PewDiePie or like something like that, then you should you don't need a second one of these. You can only have one of these, and then you can like scale it and rotate it or whatever. So yeah. And then you'd want to right click on the back, go to this like materials tab, which is like not this one. Make sure it's different. So when you click it, it doesn't say world. It says text. And then you'd click new. Make sure you're in Cycles Render. So if you see this, you're not in Cycles Render. So come up here next to this Blender icon and click Cycles Render versus Blender Render. Now click Use Nodes, change Diffuse to Glass, and since this is going to be a Tetris Topper, we're going to want to create it like Tetris-y. So first we'll create this nice dark blue, light blue color. So now you can see a preview of it here, or you could just click this and you'll see a nice beautiful preview of it. I never liked that though, it just lights it up. Now what you want to do, you don't have to do it, you just right click on this back text, you click this little arrow, and you click material. So let's rename this material as blue, so we remember it's blue. Now you want to right click on our front text and rename this dark blue after creating a new material. So now come down here to glossy, change the color to a dark blue, and make the roughness 0.9. Oh, that was 0.9. So yeah, now we right click on this other one and then click dark blue. So that's a amazing dark blue like thing. And if you want to check, you can't see the material, that's totally okay. I can't either. But what you want to do is you want to right click on this, or not right click, left click on this viewpoint shading right next to object mode versus edit mode, and this come down to the bottom on this thing, and then click here, you'll see bounding box, wireframe, go to material. Now this is what it's going to look like, but you can't see the glass from the light blue, so you'd want to come up here to rendered, and then it's really dark, but we're going to fix that. You can see the glass part of it, and how it's like roughness almost. So come down here and switch it to solid so it doesn't lag your computer. Come down where you see the cube, then come up to the wrench or user preferences, click add-ons, import export, scroll down until you see import images as planes. Now come down back to 3D view or the cube, and then make sure you're not selected on anything. So remember, you hit A to deselect or select everything, but I want everything deselected, so that's what I'm gonna do. Now File, Import, Images as Planes. Now go to your pictures and do your Tetris. So you can't see it, that's totally okay. Just here and texture, and then you'll see that awesome thing here. So then you'd go to solid again so it doesn't lag your computer. Then go back into your camera view by hitting numpad 0. Then just like the text, when you rotate it, you hit R, then type 90, and then hit X, and then hit enter. And then scale it out by hitting S just to the size of the camera. You see, it's just overlapping the camera. That's what we want. Now you can see part of the text is gotten away. So you'd go to right view by clicking numpad 3 and make sure it's in, well, I don't think it, yeah, it doesn't really matter if you're in ortho. Drag it so it's just behind the text. Now go back in here and scale it just so it's bigger than the text again. And then now go to rendered, and this is basically what it's going to look like, but you can tell it's very dark, so I'm going to stick with the rendered. But you can go to solid, it won't really matter. Oh, sorry, just rendered. And then right click on this back part, the pattern you have, the Tetris pattern, or that's just for me. Oh, sorry. I'm just got a cough, cold. Come to surface, because it will already have a pre-material made. So come to surface and do not change this image texture. Come up to here and say surface, left click on this, and click emission. This will add a nice thing. Now change it to 2.5. And now come over here and you can delete all these tabs. Doesn't really matter. We only need one tab here. So we need sampling. So come down here, left click on this and go to render and change it to 1. Just this is a preview. So now, where were we? Oh yeah. So now when you render your image, it will look very beautiful. But then you're like, whoa, why is there no detail in this whatsoever? That is what I was gonna explain. So, since I have one sample, it goes so fast, but it doesn't have that much detail. So the more sampling you have, the more, the faster, the more sampling you have, the longer it takes to render, unless you have, a supercomputer. Then it obviously takes, no time at all, because you have, a supercomputer. So, for this, I think we should just kick this up to 400. That's good. Now, we go to render image, and it will render with all of the correct things, and basically, it's only at 3%, so yeah. I'll just keep explaining some of the keys while this renders. So basically, this over here, sampling. What was I gonna say? I totally just forgot. What was I gonna say? Oh yeah. So basically, the more sampling you have, the better it looks. And some of the quality, So in my next tutorial, I will be explaining a tutorial on how to make an animation for beginners. So there you have it. This is the final product, and leave a like and drop a like, comment, and subscribe for more daily videos. I'll see you guys later.